Hey everybody, let me make one short, and this time I'm dead serious about being short. I know when I say short it always like 20 or 40 minutes long. This time I'm serious. Short note about extra credit. Something that's kind of funny is that when it comes to doing the normal assignments that are assigned for the class, people don't really like to do them. They maybe complain a little bit. The response rate isn't, the completion rate isn't super great. But when you give somebody extra credit, all of a sudden, people are running all over that, getting so excited to do the assignment, and they're happy, and it's like, yeah, I can do the extra credit, and practically a lot of times almost everybody, not everybody does the extra credit, when sometimes only 50% of the class might do the regular course assignments. It's a very interesting and weird bit of student psychology there. Something for you to think about also, because yes, extra credit is nice and helpful, but it doesn't count as much as actually doing the real assignments for the class. But for some reason, I've been thinking about just calling everything in the class extra credit, and then everybody would be excited about all of the assignments they get to do. Anyway, there's a section called a little extra credit. It's one of the last, or the last thing you'll see, the last section you'll see. There are 3 assignments there. Yeah, you should hopefully only see 3 assignments. There's West Virginia State Board of Education v. Barnett, Public Policy, and Extra Credit Electoral College. So the if you click on the drop box for West Virginia State Board of Education v. Barnett, you'll see I want you to write roughly a 350 word, 1-page summary of something about the case, a key finding, something you found interesting, a key argument of the case, something like that. You're not going to be able to summarize the entire case. Alright, I don't want you to focus just on the facts of the case. I want you to try and summarize, process through your brain, and then back out onto the page some of the legal arguments in there. Alright, write a 1-page paper, just sort of process the information. You don't necessarily have to give me some amazing insight of judicial analysis and stuff, but just show me that you read it and you seem to either understand it, or for some credit at least, made a really strong effort at understanding it. I can tell when people have read something, processed it, written it down, but not understood it. It's really interesting how sometimes information, like you'll get somebody who writes a paper that's just like a half step to the side of reality. They clearly put in a lot of work. They clearly did their own work, research, processed the information. It's just when it went through the filter in their brain, it just sort of sidestepped reality, but it came out. Anyway, you can do that, give you up to, I think, 2 points of extra credit is what I think I've assigned this. Let's see if it's even on there. That's something you have to submit via a Word document. Yeah, up to 2 points of extra credit. Alright, now there's 2 other extra credit things you can do. There's a public policy extra credit quiz. Right above the extra credit quiz, there's public policy's agendas alternative Agendas, Alternatives, and Public Policies. That's a reading that I was originally going to have you do during the semester, but we ran out of time. Underneath that, there's a PowerPoint that I made for a previous class on that section of the class, the Public Policy section of the class. Underneath that is hopefully a somewhat easy but not too easy quiz. It's a multiple choice quiz, about 9 questions, I think, just like most of the other quizzes you've had. It asks questions based upon the reading and the PowerPoint. Take the extra credit quiz. It can't hurt you. Even if you get a 1 out of 9, that gives you just a little bit of a boost in your final grade. It'd be better if you got a 9 out of 9 and got those 2 full points because you read the paper and looked through the PowerPoint and stuff. However, it's there. Finally, there's one other quiz. It says Extra Credit Electoral College. That's a quiz. It's a, let's say, a multi-part significant short answer / kind of essay-ish quiz. When you open it up, you will have 80 minutes to complete it. Should be plenty of time. You'll open it up. You'll see a box that has some words and some pictures in it. All right. There are going to be 3 maps of the United States in there, and they look different from each other. And then underneath that, there'll be several questions that ask you to explain some information about the maps, what's going on there. You know, what can the maps tell us about what's on the Electoral College, so the Electoral College, things like that. You want to make sure you thoroughly answer those questions, be specific. I'm looking for some certain specific answers, and don't read the question and then rewrite the question back to me, if that makes sense. So there's a lot of what campaign tactics what are two campaign tactics that a president can use to win a state? The answer that comes back could be the president often will employ 2 different campaign tactics to win key states in a presidential election. And then I guess hopefully people think that'll give a point or 2. That won't. It's pretty funny when it happens and sad. Don't do that. You'll see the questions, read it, blah blah blah. Do your thing. So there's some extra credit there. It'll all be due Wednesday by 11 p.m. I hope that is not helpful and not a burden. If you don't want to do them, then don't do that. It's just extra credit. But it could get you some extra points. Okay.